Alright, what is up guys? VV back with another video. And in today's video, we're going to be looking at Red Purple Trafalgar Law. We are getting closer and closer over here in the West to getting our hands on the ST-10 package. Excuse me, the starter deck number 10 package here. And in today's video, we're going to kind of talk about what we're going to have access to on the first week of it being released. Because, how do I say this? Ultimately, what we're seeing, or whatever I just said there, what we're going to see in the West, in the East, they have access to more cards. Specifically, one more set that we would need access to do better, to get better results with. And that's OP-05, which we will not have for another month and a half or 2 months or so at the time of me recording this. Excuse me. So, real quick, this is the Red Purple Trafalgar Law. And the cards we will have access to, another 2K counter, and this one's not terrible. It's a Dawn ×1 when attacking. Give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 power during this turn. But realistically, we don't ever want to play this for anything other than a 2K counter. Not to say you wouldn't. Like, if you can get this on turn 1, if you can get this down on turn 1, it's probably not terrible. And then 2K counter for the rest of the game. But the cards that we will get access to that are actually very much worth mentioning is Shashi and Penguin. This is a 4-cost 5,000 power 2K counter. That alone would make it worth playing in this kind of deck. Excuse me. I should probably, just to make sure everyone understands the leader, I'm going to read this real quick. Activate main, once per turn, Dawn -3. Place up to one of your opponent's characters with 3,000 power or less at the bottom of the owner's deck. And play up to one character card with a cost of 4 or less from your hand. Okay, so we want to reduce the cost of characters, and we want to have 4 cost or lower characters in our deck. Now, Shashi and Penguin... Excuse me, guys. Sorry about that. My allergies are really messed up right now. Shashi and Penguin says, if you have 3 or less Dawn cards on your field, add up to 2 Dawn cards from your Dawn deck and rest them. Okay, well, let's think about the applications there. If you have Law on the field... And let's just say you have 5 Dawn, okay, for this example. And all your Dawn has been used up. Maybe you swung with her, you did this, or you did that with it, and it's all used up. And then you use Trafalgar Law's ability. Excuse me. Dawn -3. So that would take us from 5 Dawn down to 2 Dawn, right? Okay, well, if with this on-play effect, and you could play this character with that effect. You see what I'm saying? That's the combo. You play this character down with that effect, and now you have less than 3 Dawn. So, you're going to be able to add 2 Dawn cards from your Dawn deck and rest them. That's very important, guys. That's going to allow us to keep tempo, to keep our Dawn up so we can use it for next turn and everything. So, Shashi and Penguin we're going to have access to. Gene Bart is very, very good. I'm going to suggest a card to replace this with once we move on through the video. Excuse me. There is a card I think we can replace this with, but this card is still very good. This is a 4-cost, 5,000 power, 1,000 counter character that has on play, pay 1. So yeah, when you play him, you have to pay 1. So he really is like a 5-cost, or if you use Trafalgar Law's effect to play him, then you can pay 1 from, as well that way. And then you'll add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active, which is nice. Okay, let's keep going. This is a good core staple card of the deck. It's just a nice 4-cost, 5,000 power, 1,000 counter blocker. So that's everything we need it to be. And then it additionally has on play Dawn -1. If your opponent has 7 or more cards in their hand, trash 2 cards from your opponent's hand. So, you know, there is actually a lot of value to that against certain matchups. Okay. All right, let's keep going. And then Heat. This is more for the Kid Pirates stuff. Let's keep going. Beppo. Another absolutely staple card if you're trying to play Red Purple Law. This is a 4-cost, 5,000 power. You guys starting to see a theme right now? 4-cost, 5,000 power. That is a big theme in this deck. 4-cost, 5,000 power, 1,000 counter, on play and when attacking. If your opponent has more Dawn cards on their field than you, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and rest it. Huge, absolutely massive amount of value that we will attain from this card. This will be one of the first cards your opponent KOs if they have the choice. Okay? Alright, so let's keep going. Unfortunately, this is not really a card you're going to play in the deck. It just doesn't line up. Now, let's talk about cards we will not have access to. By the way, of course, they're going to have a reprint of the 3-cost 5,000 power Rush Zoro, and this will probably be a 2 or 3 of in the deck. Okay, we will want this card. Okay, so another thing we need to talk about is cards we will not have access to. Okay, this is from OP-05. As you see right here, for those wondering, the website, it's Asia-EN, so that stands for Asia format English language.onepiece-cardgame.com /card slash or backslash, whatever that is, card list, and then slash backslash, whatever it is. Okay, so this is OP-05. Now, some of these cards aren't relevant to what we're doing, but a few of them are. Namely, this card, Zoro. This is a 3-cost, 4,000 power, 1,000 counter Zoro, Straw Hat Crew. When attacking, if you have 3 or less life cards, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active. Okay, that's very nice. Now, he is just a 4,000 power character, so you will have to add Dawn just to attack to, potentially hit, the first threshold, the first attack threshold for most characters at 5,000 power, or most leaders, excuse me. But you technically don't have to. So, let me turn this volume up just a little bit. There we go. So, either way, not the worst thing in the world. Okay, I think this card is good, and I see it in most of the builds. But I think we actually can play around this card. I don't know. Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comment section below. Okay, so this is an alt art for it. Looks really cool. Next up is this card. This card is going to be hard for us to replace. And I would argue it's probably impossible to replace it. This is basically like Green's version of Nami, the 3-cost Nami. That's a 5,000 power character that you have to pay 1 to on player attack to top 3 search. That's too loud now. Sorry guys. There we go. With this card in particular, it's just when attacking, top 5 search for Heart Pirates. This is a nice card, guys. It's a 5,000 power card, right where we want it. And it has the ability to keep giving us cards from our deck to our hand. We won't have access to this in ST-10. We won't have access to this until OP-05. Okay, a few more cards we need to look at. This is the alt art for it. Looks really awesome. And this is the manga version of the card we just looked at. Really nice. This is a nice 2K counter we can run if we need to. This is fine as a 2K counter. But here's the next card that we really want to look at that we won't have access to in ST-10 yet. We got to wait till OP-05. This is Eustace Captain Kidd, 5 cost, 6,000 power, 1,000 counter, blocker. And this card has, on your turn, once per turn, when a Dawn card on your field is returned to your Dawn deck, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active. Okay, that's good for obvious reasons, right? It's a blocker. It's a 5 cost 6K. It's huge, and it allows us to keep getting our Dawn back. 1 Dawn per turn whenever we use our leader's effect, or any other type of effect. But once per turn, that is. This one also has an alt art and then a manga alt art. Very cool. And then 2 more cards we want to look at. Number 1 is when you're at sea, you fight against pirates. This is a top 3 search for Straw Hat Kid Pirates and Heart Pirates. And then trigger activate main of cards effect. This card is very strong for our searchability, because this doesn't care what you. Because remember, with the Law Searcher, with this guy here, when attacking, look at top 5 cards, grab a Heart Pirates. Now remember, this is a Kid Pirates card, right? And then we go back one more here to Zoro. This is a Straw Hat Crew. So in other words, this character cannot search up those 2 cards that we want. Or even just normal Zoro, the 3-cost Zoro. However, this card can. So this is going to be something we need to really consider going forward. Now, let's take a look at a few lists, and then I'm going to show you the list that I recommend going into ST-10. Okay, so first and foremost, let me go back just to kind of show what's going on here. Deck list. This is in OP-05. We're going to look at OP-04 in a minute. Deck profile, ST-10 Law. Only about 10 entries so far in OP-05. Okay, and I think they're technically in OP-05.5 at this point. But we're going to look at 2 decks in particular, maybe 3. This 9-1 list here, they got first place at some type of tournament in Japan. So again, we've got the Shashi and Penguin, we've got Trafalgar Law, we got Beppo. These are absolutely staple. And then in OP-05, these will probably be staple as well. You got Zoro, you've got the Law Searcher, you've got the Trafalgar Kid Dawn replacement blocker. This guy's running 4 of the Searchers we looked at, and he's running 3 Zoros, the Rush Zoro. And then there's 3 more cards we need to look at, and I think this is approaching like the staple, like this is probably what the core of the deck is. 4 Otama, 2K counter that has minus 2,000 power on it. 3 Portgas the Ace. Okay, this is a really nice card for us, guys. It's a 7 cost, 7,000 power character. That's not insane, but it is just fine for what we're doing. And here's what it has, though. On play, give up to 2 of your opponent's characters minus 3,000 power during this turn. Now, remember how our leader's effect works. We can play Ace for 7... Let's say we only have 7 Dawn. We can play Ace for 7 Dawn, and then we can use our leader's effect to return 3 Dawn to go down to 4, to bottom deck a 6,000 power character or less at that point, right? Because we played Ace for minus 3,000. So we can bottom deck a 6,000 power character and play out a 4 cost or less. So very powerful momentum. We'll get there. And then so Otama, Ace, and last but not least here is Gordon. Guys, at the time of me recording this, it is October 30th is the day I'm recording this, and I'm going to bring up the prices real quick. This card is expensive, guys. It is a promo card, unfortunately, and it is very, very pricey. So if you do not have this card, I'm going to talk about some options, but they're not great options, but they're at least something. So $20 a card currently for this 1 cost 2K. And it's not even a 2K counter, it's just a 1 cost 2,000 power card that has on play activate main to minus 3,000 someone's power. And as you can see here, guys, we're talking $20 across the board. This is a very expensive card. Okay, so I'm sorry if you don't... I did try to warn people in my previous Trafalgar Law video. I said, guys, pick this card up. It is expensive, guys. It's expensive. Okay, so anyway, so that's really the core that we just looked at. The only cards we didn't talk about were this 2K counter Sanji and this Gamma Knife. Gamma Knife comes out in OP-05. We don't have access to this. Did I not talk about that? I'm sorry, guys. Did I skip over that in the card list? Yeah, I looked at when you're at sea, you fight against pirates, and I think I forgot to mention Gamma Knife. My apologies, guys. It is a 2 cost Dawn -1. Give up to 1 of your opponent's characters minus 5,000 power during this turn, and then trigger, add up to 1 Dawn cards from your Dawn deck and set it as active as a trigger. Okay, sorry about that, guys. So, from what we have here, the cards we don't have access to are these 3 right here: Zoro, Trafalgar Law, and Kid. So that's 12 cards we don't have access to. And then when you're at sea, you fight pirates, and Gamma Knife. That is 20 cards altogether we just simply don't have access to. Now, that's okay, though, because I really want to show this next deck right here. Actually, I'm going to show that last. Let me show this deck, show the similarities. This is another red-purple deck that did very well. First place at a 122-player tournament. And this one's a little bit different, because it's running Queen instead of, what is it running instead of? Ace. No, it's got Ace. Excuse me. What am I missing here? He's got the Zoro. He's got the Law, the Kid. He's got the Gamma Knife. He's running the Radical Beam instead of it's not running the Searcher, the 4 cost Searcher. It looks like he's probably running Queen over the 1 cost Event Searcher. Okay, it is 1 cost, right? Let me make sure real quick. It is a 1 cost, yeah. Okay, 3 Trafalgar Law. He is running 2 Rad Beams. That's nice. We can only run 1 over in the West, but 1's better than none. And then everything else seems pretty straightforward. This is a 2K counter promotional card, film / Heart Pirates. Very nice. And this is kind of like a miniature Nico Robin. All right, let's keep going. And then it's got Khalifa as one of the 2K counters instead of Sanji. But everything else is pretty much identical. It's got the Law, like we said. It's got the Kid. It's got the Zoro, the Beppos, the other Trafalgar Law blocker, Shachi and Penguin. It's got Ace. It's got Gord. It's got Otama. It's got the Zoro. But then instead of the Sanjis, it's running Beppo and Khalifa. And instead of the Searcher, it's running 5 Queens. Okay, so that is something we'll be able to replace it with, going forward, or until we get access to it. Now, last but not least, this is going to be like a detour away from Gordon because some people just won't be able to afford the card, which I totally understand. For the people who cannot afford that card, this is a nice list, and this is something I think that needs to be explored more. So notice what's going on here. So we got the 4 Queen. Let me go over the cards we know about. We got the 4 Shotzi and Penguin. We got the Trafalgar Laws, the Beppos, the Otamas. Got Brook in here as a 4-cost 5k power that can minus 2,000 to 2 characters if you attach it on an attack. Round Table instead of Gamma Knife. 2k counter right here in Jinbei. We talked about the Otama. And then it's not running Ace. It's not running... And I'm not going to lie, this deck makes me think that it was from the end of OP-05, or excuse me, from the end of OP-04 in the East. Because notice, I don't think there's any OP-05 cards in this list. So I could be wrong, and I don't remember the dates. We got 828 up here for the date. I'm not exactly sure. But this would be a nice OP-04 list for us to run, guys, once ST-10 drops. It's got a 2k counter package in Sadie, and then Hannibal is searching up all of these cards up here except Queen, and of course nothing down here, but that's 4, 8, 12, 15 cards that Hannibal's going to be able to search up. Sadie, for those who don't know what Sadie does, it's a 3-cost 3,000 power 2k counter. That alone is fine being a 2k counter, but then if you need to, you can on play this, play up to 1 Jailer Beast type character card from your hand. The only 2 Jailer Beasts that it runs is Minotaur, or excuse me, Mina Koala. It runs Minotaur, but this is Mina Koala. A 4-cost 5,000 power. Remember that? Remember the pattern we were seeing earlier? Here it is again. 4 costs, 5,000 power, 1,000 counter blocker. Don't worry about the on KO because our leader's not impelled down. We don't get that effect. And then Minotaur, 4 costs, 5,000 power, 1,000 counter, double attacker. And again, the on KO we don't get access to because we're not impelled down. So this is a nice little package to run. You know, and this is a little 2-cost 2k or 2-cost 2,000 power, 1,000 counter blocker. In Domino, searchable by Hannibal. And then we got the Queens for blocker power. It's not running Aces, but it is running Round Table. So this is a card that I recommend we run at first until we get Gamma Knife. And honestly, I think it's just better than Gamma Knife, other than the fact that it's not searchable. Okay, I understand that. It is what it is. And instead of being a 2-cost card like Gamma Knife, this is 4-cost. But look what it does. 4-cost, minus 10,000 power to a character during this turn. So remember what our leader's effect does. So if we have 4 Dawn, for whatever reason, and they have a 10 cost on the board, we can pay 4 to use this to minus 10,000 of their power, use this leader's effect, and remove anything in the game. Like remove whatever the character was that we needed to get rid of, and then still play a card from hand. And if we play a Sadie, we'll be able to play a Minotaur or a, excuse me, a Minokoala or a Minotaur out of it. So just a nice little effect there. I think this is a decent setup here. Now, I do think there's another card we can run over Brook that I think it's arguably a little bit better, but I could be wrong. So let me go into the list that I recommend we start off with. Instead of Brook, let me show something real quick. There's this card right here. This is another promotional card, guys, so get your hands on it while you can. I'll even look it up right now while we're talking about it to make sure it's even still affordable. Whoops, I can't spell. Trafalgar Law. I think this card is probably way more affordable than Gordon, but it's getting up there. It is getting up there. This card is $6. It's about $7. This card's about $7. It looks like there are still quite a few available at certain stores. But as you can see, this thing was like, 50 cents a few months ago. Okay, like it was way down there, and now it's just going up and up and up. So this is definitely a card to snag if you're trying to get into red-purple Trafalgar Law. We looked at Gordon. Let's look at Beppo real quick. There was a promotional Beppo. This one's still pretty cheap as well if you're interested in trying out this card, the 3-cost 2k counter Nika Robin effect. And as you see, it's going up, but not quite as drastic as the others. So very nice. Okay, let's get back to what we were doing. This card is a 4-cost 5,000 power character with a 1k counter, and on play, give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 power during this turn. So, in other words, it's like a warp speed version of Brook. And I understand Brook you can just keep doing over and over again, but guys, let's be honest, like, how often are you going to get Brook's effect off? Like, I just feel like it's not practical to get these effects off more than once when attacking. Every now and then it'll happen, but it's not very often. So anyway, so this will be the list that I recommend us start off with. I'm going to run through it real quick. This will be ST-10, you know, practical, however you want to say it. I'll talk about Ulti in a second, but because you could also run that Minnow Koala package we were talking about. But okay, y'all bear with me for a second. So this is no OP-05 cards. Okay, first up, 4 Otama, 4 Gordon, 3 Zoro, Rush Zoro, 4 Brook or Trafalgar Law if you have the Trafalgar Law. That's what I'll be playing is Trafalgar Law. The 4 cost 5k, 1k counter we just looked at. 4 Ulti. Ulti is a 4 cost 5,000 power 2k counter that has on play Don -1, play up to 1 page 1 character card with a cost of 4 or less from your hand without paying its cost. So just understand that this is still just a good card period because it's a 4 cost 5k that doubles over as a 2k counter. That alone is good for what we're trying to do. It's the same idea as Shashi and Penguin right here. But it also has the potential for you to just play this, you know, just straight play it, Don -1, and play a page 1 out of hand. And this is page 1. It's just a 4 cost 6k vanilla with 1k counter. Okay? Now, the next card that I recommend here, this is kind of to replace Gene Bart, the card we looked at. Let me just show y'all what I'm talking about. This card right here. This was the 4 cost 5k, 1k counter that has pay 1 to add up to 1 Don card and set as active. I think this card is just kind of better for what we're trying to do. This character's name is Ain. It's from ST-05. If you can get your hands on this, I think it'd be nice. I think this card's pretty cheap at the moment. Let me see real quick. I don't want to mistell y'all anything. But it's just a 4 cost 5k that adds a Dawn card. So that way, if you have to cheat it out, it'll help pay for itself. Okay, 1 second, guys. Yeah, this card is worth like 2 cents. So, if you need to grab this card, it's very, very cheap. Like, it's spiked at 10 cents or 12 cents or whatever that is. So, anyway. Excuse me. So, really strong card for what we're trying to do. Shashi and Penguin we already talked about. This is the Trafalgar Law blocker. Beppo, page 1, Queen, 3 Ace, 1 Rad Beam, 3 Round Table. So this is the list. Let me blow it up or zoom out. Let me just get rid of the leader card too. There we go. Excuse me. So this is the list that I recommend we start off with, and we can make adjustments from here. Like I said, if you don't have the Gordons, I would definitely recommend trying this package right here. I think this would be just fine. I think this list right here would be absolutely fine. Because this person clearly did very well. He got first place at a tournament, but I don't know how big it was. One last thing. I also want to show you all there was one list that was mentioned from the East's OP-04 meta with ST-10 Law, excuse me. So deck profile, ST-10 Law. This was the one list that made it out of the East before OP-05 and OP-04. And that list looked like this. Now, we don't have access to everything that they have, like 4 Radical Beams and 4 Blocker Marcos. But I wouldn't be surprised if like an Ezo Whitebeard package would work with this. Like I wouldn't be surprised if that, I think it would still work even without the 4 Marcos. Like maybe you just replace the 4 Marcos with 1 Marco and then 3 Jozus. Or something like that, just some kind of 2k counter maybe, or even just the 2 cost blocker. The 2 cost blocker would probably be fine. But I will say it's obviously not as good. And Marco goes so well with our Trafalgar Law. It's sad we don't have access to that. But it is what it is. And the same thing with Radical Beams. You could technically replace these with guard points, but those aren't searchable by Ezo. It just hurts the integrity of the deck, to be honest. Excuse me. But I do think there is something to be said in just, Vista with our Leader's Effect is still just fine. Especially if you can combo it with a Brook, right? If you can drop 2 characters down -2,000, and then you do the -3 with your Leader's Effect to KO one of them, and then you cheat out the Vista with the effect and KO the other. You see where there's potential there. Ace, same exact idea. Excuse me. So there might be, until OP-05 comes out, there might be a, maybe it's worth trying to just run this package because we know it's probably at least pretty decent. The Marcos we can't cheat out, just like the Ace we can't cheat out, but that's okay because Marco's just strong as is. And who knows? Maybe instead of running the 4 Marcos, maybe we run the 4 cost Atmos or something, right? Something like that, right? Okay, well that's about it, guys. I just wanted to give y'all like a quick update on how Law's looking currently for us. over in the West, and I cannot wait to get my hands on this leader and put it through some testing, like at locals and everything. Tell me what you guys think. Do y'all have any recommendations, any comments you want to add? Please, by all means, don't be afraid to share those. Y'all know that I'm trying to learn too, right? I'm a student of the game, right? I'll always want to learn new things about the game. If you know of a cool combo that might work, let's hear about it, right? Let's talk about it. Because as is, the list looks nice on paper, guys. Like, look at this. 4 Otama, those are 2K counters. 4 Ulti, those are 2K counters. 4 Shashi and Penguin, those are 2K counters. And then you have all this extra, you know, everything going on here. It just looks so much fun, like so much fun to play. Right, guys, that's about it. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Hope you guys enjoyed, and until next time, peace.